Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the fellas are all here. Welcome in, and we also have a very special guest today to talk about some things that are going on within the American Heart Association, our partner. So, thank you for joining us. Ahmed, what are you doing, Ahmed?
Just having a little yogurt, black cherry.
Okay, okay, all
Don't,
right.
don't
Well,
mind me.
okay.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
All right, Batman. Okay, okay. Nobody else is having a snack. You didn't bring any enough for everybody else.
Well, it's yogurt, and at my
one
age,
one man does not share
it's,
yogurt with another man. Is that right?
it's just
No.
not shareable fruit.
Okay, okay. Cameron, how are you today?
I'm feeling pretty good. How's everybody else doing?
And
Great.
Damon, how are you?
Doing great. I just was a little disturbed at him eating. It looked like he was eating Jello, and that's that made
we
me
we
shake some Bill Cosby. I'm like,
Ugh.
Woo, the Jello.
but all is good. All is well.
I'm good. How's the weather where you guys are? Is it looking like springtime? I know we're getting a lot of rain here,
It was hot.
or threats of rain, I should say.
It was hot
Chicago's been up
today.
and down. Yeah, Chicago's up and down. We got 70s, we got 80s coming. Then it'll get a little cooler and we have a little rain. Just typical Chicago up and down this week.
Good, good.
I'm more concerned with the weather in Atlanta this weekend because that's where I'll be.
Well, we will talk about
Hot.
that, and
Of
and
course.
maybe Med will can give us a little of a weather report
Yeah.
as we continue our conversation. Um, I think that's a good express yourself question at some point, as you've given me an idea, Med. Your favorite snack foods or your energy picker upper. So we'll talk about that at some point or another. We do have what's really going on segment today, but we will do that at another time. I think I know Damon's, and I'm not sure that yogurt is Med's favorite, and
One
Cameron,
of.
we just never know with Cameron. So let us move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. This is our effort to super serve the African American community, to inform and empower with our stories, as well as to give people a sense of what not only what Tom Joyner showed us and helped us learn, but also to keep it going. And all of our articles are pretty much African American centered, but not always, but it does have a point of conversation in our community. Um, so we'd love to have you be a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. Please go to sybilwilkes.com to sign up. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. And that is absolutely free. So let's start up here, Cameron. And if you can read our newsletter, you might want to thank a teacher. And during Teacher Appreciation Week, Cameron has an update on the state of teachers and perhaps their salaries in the U.S. today. What's going on, Cameron?
Yeah, Sybil, Damon, Med. It seems that the states are battling over who appreciates teachers' salaries the most. States are trying to recruit as many teachers as they can to compensate for staffing issues, and it seems that governors in Idaho, governors in Delaware, are aiming to increase teacher salaries up into the top 10 across the entire nation. Now we're talking teachers, not professors. And a lot of teachers say that a mere pay bump isn't enough to bring them back into the classroom. We haven't really had adequate teacher staffing since the recession of 2008. A lot of teachers point the finger at lack of college enrollment programs, pipeline or pathway programs that get you set up really nice with all your certifications and all your credentials necessary to be an effective teacher. Likewise, a lot of teachers say that all of the paperwork and the difficulty taking days off and getting substitutes siphons the joy out of teaching. And in my work and in higher education, there's just an overall lack of Black male teachers, period. Black male teachers still represent only 2% of the population nationally. So as we're in this teacher shortage, I'm wondering, is an increase in salary enough? States are looking to increase teacher salary to about 60K a year or so, but is that enough to get people into the classroom and to get them where they need to be for our students?
And overall, what would you say? Is it or is it not?
I would say no. I think teachers definitely need wraparound services. A lot of, from what I hear in the neighborhoods in Sybil, Damon, Med, I work in the hoodest hood of the hoodest, most possible hoods, and a lot of these teachers feel like that they're thrown into the fire without any sort of support. And they're there and they put in their 2 years and they're out of there and they go be
And what level are you talking about that you work with?
this is like K through middle school. Some high school teachers, but mostly like kindergarten through like middle school.
Because my mom worked in the hoodest of hoods years ago when it was she was with a preschool program called SCOME, is what it started out, school and home, and it was acclimating students before they got to kindergarten.
Oh,
She worked at Oakenwald at 40th and Lake Park, and there wasn't a day that went by that there wasn't some sort of shooting or thing that went on there in the neighborhood, and yet and with difficulties in with working with parents and children and teachers, it was always a challenge. And I used to marvel, and my mother would just I'd say, you just aren't getting paid enough. I didn't even know what my mother's salary was until she died, and then I saw her paycheck going through her papers and things. But my point was the amount of work, the amount of that she put into working with little ones as well as their parents. It just didn't seem like enough money in the world to give them what they were worth. I still don't think that. And I think that parents started to realize that during the pandemic when they had to bring their little darlings home and had to do a lot of the work themselves, while the teachers were virtually involved, but not to the classroom extent. And now it seems as though they've forgotten, Cam, exactly how important teachers are, or they were, and still are.
yeah, and I think that's a lot of the problem, Sybil, is that like we don't we don't glorify the position of teaching enough. In my age demographic, teaching is not as like a sought after position. There are very few people who I know and younger who quest to be that, but it's such a critical, important role. And the rapid turnover of teachers in the schools, it creates like a almost like a abandonment cycle for the youth in the classrooms.
Yeah, and you talk about black men in the classroom or men in the classrooms, period. I didn't have, the only black male teachers that I had were my dad and my uncles,
Mm.
not in the classroom, Damon. I don't know how you guys fared with that in your growing up, Damon and Med, but if you could share with us, that as well as your thoughts on how teachers are compensated these days.
Man,
Med?
I think that it's the most underappreciated job that there is. We had my friend Jeff Beckham on here a few weeks
Mhm.
ago, and one of the questions I asked him when we had an interview for the Black Information Network was, as much that we talk about how important our teachers are, and government officials like, oh my God, the teachers are so important. Why does it nothing happen for them? And he's just
Yeah.
like, it's just a lot of people putting priorities in different places that has nothing to do with the education of our children. I also put a little blame on the parents too, because as much as we think about it, they treat teachers and schools as just daycares,
Right.
a place to stow their kids until they get off of work. And so there's really no support when it comes to these children when they're at home. That can help them in the classroom, whether it be behavioral support, school support. So and then again, these teachers are usually coming out of their own pockets for stuff that's in the classroom.
There was
So
a
when
lot
you
of
see
that.
these,
Yeah.
so when you see these lists of things, you're like, why do they need 3 tissue boxes? And why do they need? Because if you don't get it, the teachers got to pay for it. The schools ain't providing it. So it's like, you asking them to, you were asking the government or school districts to pay these teachers more, but at the end of the day, the teachers are still coming out of pocket for a lot of things. In my mind, shouldn't have to, but it's just the way it is.
And on top of that, Med, clothing and other essentials that children need that they are giving to kids who don't come to school, dressed the way they should be, or have their parents may not have the money in order to pay for, the clothing that they need for class, even a pair of tennis shoes for gym class. Damon.
Sybil, there was a post recently from a teacher who said that she just kind of went over her day. And over her day, she gave students some clothes, gave some students some money to get lunch, gave some food, some of her own food for her own lunch to some kids that came into school with no food at all and couldn't afford the lunch. And she said, I'm not doing this to get accolades. I'm just letting you know to give us grace, because parents will rail on teachers. Parents will, talk about how incompetent teachers are and complain about teachers, but teachers are doing the best they can with what they're given. And they're not given much, especially in the Black and brown communities. They're not given anything. And that's one of my main things when we talk about violence and our community. The number one thing for me, and this is a long-term effect, is the conditions of our schools for our kids. Because when you don't have the opportunity to grow in these schools, because they don't have the facilities and they don't have the books, they don't have anything for these kids or these teachers, where do you expect them to go? How far do you expect them to climb when they are so far behind from when they were from kindergarten and up?
Yeah. Damon, your son and I didn't have that at the schools that we went to. When I was there, before time began, and young Damon certainly not. But it's all around us.
Yeah, I'm well aware of it. My sister was a teacher's aide, and she took a picture waist down of this kid with some really dirty sneakers on. And we used that picture to start. What I tried to do was to create a message board between teachers and those who would like to help teachers. And it worked for about a week, but it's called Help Teachers, Help Kids. Teachers go online on Facebook, post your necessities and things needed in the classroom. Volunteers can connect with that teacher and help the teacher. And I really want to reinstitute that so that it's really a nationwide initiative where we can have a place where teachers, because some people don't even realize that a teacher might have a student that's being harassed because he's got dirty clothes or doesn't have a place to shower, or some of these kids are homeless that we don't know. They live from relative to relative and are displaced from time to time. Some of them are doing homework in the car. So a lot of these stories, the teachers are the point of contact for us to know these things. And we all have benevolent hearts. A lot of us would do more if we knew a concise way to do it. Or you can just go and adopt a classroom or adopt a school or get a group of parents or a group of grandparents or PTA board members. But we have to have some direct input directly between us and the teachers so that they can identify those who are less fortunate.
Yeah, I'm down with that. As we wrap up this discussion, Cameron, I do have a final question for you. With the new mayor coming into the city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, a former school teacher, has worked with the Chicago Teachers Union. Do you see any hope for a better situation for Chicago teachers in particular in the future?
Yeah, from where I'm at, there's a lot of those pathway programs being built. Like especially for Black men. I mean, you can go get your undergraduate degree, and then you can be a principal in less than 4 years.
That happened on Abbott Elementary, so I'm sure that it can happen anywhere.
I don't think it took her 4 years. I think she's still in night school.
Yeah, but it's possible for us, and that's also just like the beauty of being a necessary, just like a necessary force of change. You can have a profound impact on your neighborhood on your own people, you do have to be out there in the trenches just for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
after that, come out being a principal and drive a Benz. Go for it.
But it is so, I mean, any level, I don't care if you are the man that opens the doors in the morning, or if you're the man that leads all the teachers in the classroom, or woman, but it's tough. It's just
Oh, yeah.
tough.
Yeah,
And I can
that is
understand why a lot of them don't want to do it. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Damon.
and that's already a labor of passion to be a
Yeah.
teacher. And then you got, obstinate and badass kids. Let's go with that. And if you got to deal with that every day, you taking that stress home and you giving your heart to it. So at least they should be compensated for some of the extra mental stress that the teachers go through. And then the emotional damage they're caused by them feeling helpless. When you got these kids that you're trying to help, and some of them have bad home training, they have bad manners, they have bad behaviors, and they're behind in their studies. So it's an uphill climb, but I think we as a village gonna have to take control of it, because we're not gonna get better as a people if we just talk about it.
Oh,
Right.
for sure. Yeah.
Right. And there are a lot of programs that we can get involved in. I know my cousin was involved in a Principal for a Day program in the Chicago Public Schools. And there are those, where we get an opportunity to go in and see what's going on, what's needed, as well as, as you mentioned, Damon, your wonderful idea to help and to find out what's going on. I'm down for it. So just let me know. I always wanted to be a principal, but having lived with a Chicago Public School teacher, I don't necessarily have great words and thoughts about principals because of some of the ways they treated their teachers back in the day. But I do.
Sybil, you make a great principal, though.
You know what? That's very nice of you to say. However, when I came out of college and I was looking for a job, my mom suggested I become a substitute, and I went for the interview. And I don't know if I purposely flubbed the interview, but I just knew that it wasn't in me. Having seen what my mother was able to give, I didn't think I had it in me, that passion to do what she did. And also, I'm sorry, they could take me and just and just toss me away. It's like
I want to figure out that you're
but
an
at
awesome
least you would have
bartender.
you would have great intercom voice.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, boys and girls. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The morning announcements on 10 every day.
That is funny. So there he goes. Check out the stories that we have in the What You Need to Know newsletter. This story that I did about the Texas Republicans, they're at it again. So Republicans did not do so well in the 2022 midterm elections, especially in the county of Harris County, which is South Texas, that encompasses the major city of Houston. So Republicans didn't do well. They complained, they lost, they complained, and they're trying to figure out how to get over on people again, namely Democrats of color. And so they have come up with this bill. This is the craziest stuff I've ever heard. They have a bill that has passed the Senate going to the House, in which they are able, the Secretary of State doesn't have to do any real concrete research, just a feeling that something was not right in this particular county that you can call a revote. So in other words, if someone complains to her, a Republican complains to her and says, you know what, in this one county, and it's very specific. The county has to have a population of over 2.7 million people. It's like the only county there is Harris County, and that's where a preponderance of Black and brown voters are. And so Republicans come in and say, I lost. What are we going to do? And say, well, we'll make a bill so that, we'll send it to the Secretary of State. You don't have to come up with evidence. She doesn't have to do any research. She just has to have a feeling that something's not right. And we will have her declare a new election. What the Greg Abbott are you all doing? This is as crazy as all of the gun laws, right? That exist in this state. But this is what voters are dealing with in the state of Texas.
Wow. Yeah. This is what happens when you have like state controlled like which I state controlled election laws,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't. Fortunately, in the state of Georgia, they're a bit more tactful with it, but this is just like very obvious, just like the el- election fraud. I'm a sore loser button.
Right.
This
Right.
is just absolutely awful.
Yeah. It's like do-over,
Right.
and it's
Right. Until we win, then it must have been a fraud.
right. Yep. Because
Yeah,
we
and
know
again,
that we want to do we gerrymander. We can, we'll take people out of their district so that they can't run again. We will do everything we can in order to maintain that power and the majority in the state legislature, and then we can come up with our bills and like this in order to maintain some control. I'm sorry, man.
no, and I was saying, like, to think about it, on a daily basis, these kind of bills slide through, aren't talked about. So first of all, thankfully on the newsletter we have this, but for the most part, people don't know it's happening until it's done or until it's too late.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I've always been a proponent of some of these apps that like let you know what bills are being voted on in your state, in your city. And I think one of them is called Countable. And if
Mm-hmm.
you go in there, it has, your district, what they're voting on, what are the bills coming through. You can then let your elected officials know, nah, don't vote for that one. I don't like that. It's one of those situations where you have to, as our job as citizens is to pay attention to what's going on in the capital of our states so that we
Right.
know what the heck's going on, because we're just out here being blind. Of course, they're not going to, publicize it. Where are the Democrats at to really make a lot of noise? Because this should be a national story. Just like the
Right.
situation going on in Louisiana, where you have the Republicans trying to take over Jackson, the police,
Right.
the
Yeah.
police
Yeah.
department of Jackson. It's like these things should not happen. But if we are not loud about it, if we don't know things are going down, we have to educate ourselves on what's going on in the capital of our states. Because if anything we've learned when Trump was in charge is how important the states are individually when it
Right.
comes to the laws and things of that nature, what can go down in your state.
Yeah, and
So
then when they passed,
hang on one second. Hang on, Damon. I'm sorry. Hold on to that thought. We will cover it a little bit later. I'm being told that we are way over time and we have to keep moving. I apologize, and that's for me for having a lot of words, I suppose. So and I promise we will come back in the next segment. Let's move on to what's really going on, and asking folks if you saw the article in today's newsletter from the American Heart Association about their Empowered to Serve Business Accelerator program. This allows entrepreneurs, businesses, and nonprofit organizations making a health impact in the United States communities to share their innovations, their concepts, and provide access to valuable and actionable knowledge. Those are great buzzwords: valuable and actionable knowledge, as well as funding for those entrepreneurs to achieve success and sustainability. So joining us today is brand and marketing strategist Krista Chambers Price to tell us more about American Heart's Accelerator program. Welcome, Krista.
Why, thank you very much. Glad to be with all of you.
It's great to have you. I understand that we've been a part of your family for a number of years in the car,
Yes.
but it's glad to meet you, fam. Krista, tell us about this accelerator program and what this means, and especially from your position as a branding a brand and marketing strategist. First of all, what does that mean? What's your job?
Okay. All right. So my job is to help our companies really understand why they exist and why the market should pay attention to them and
Oh,
trust
okay.
them. Yeah. And for a lot of our brands, they want to lead with what they do and how they do it before they truly understand what the problem is that they're truly trying to solve and why they're the ones to lead. And so for this accelerator that the American Heart Association is behind, it really is focusing on helping those folks that are in the trenches that Cam and Damon, you guys were talking about earlier with the teachers and the community who see the problem, they want to do something about it. This accelerator provides the tools, it provides the training, it provides the mentoring, and most importantly, it provides the connections, right? It's a seat at the table so
Mm.
that when you need to, if you have the tools, if you can see what's going on down the street and you know you can fix it, well, let's give you the tools to fix it. Let's
Right.
connect you with the scientists who can help validate your idea. Let's connect you with the AHA PR team, their marketing team is nationwide, as you know, Sybil. They are getting behind these brands that no one's known about, right? And
By
giving
people
them
who
that
look like
push.
us.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and so the accelerator is there are two levels. There's a 4-week level, there's an 8-week level. The 4-week level is for local markets that are in, let's say, in New Orleans or even in the Bay Area, and they want to have their own small accelerator focused on their community, focused specifically on their problems. We currently have one starting right now with Minnesota. So Minnesota jumped out into the middle of the pool first. What I'm here to share with everyone today is the National Accelerator, which the applications just opened May 1st. So any entrepreneur, we're taking folks that are in ideation mode, all the way up to folks who have applied and have achieved or have received rather Series A, Series B funding. So, and the reason why all of these organizations can exist, and this is also what's interesting about this particular accelerated model, is that all these organizations, regardless of their level, can participate in the same accelerator because we're focused on the one thing that levels the playing field for everyone, which is understanding why everyone truly exists and really understanding what makes them unique.
Mhm.
And so the brand strategist, Sybil, my job is to pull that out of them because everyone thinks they come in with, oh, we're great, we're awesome, blah, blah, blah. No. If I can deflate it in under 10 seconds, then you're not ready. And my job is and
That's
it's not
something
about
no
being
man wants to hear from a woman, by the way, Krista. I'm just saying.
nobody. I know,
Yeah.
and it hurts. It hurts, and that maybe it comes from the military background. But it's like if I tell you now, that means someone's not going to tell you who really doesn't care about you. It's going to tell
Right.
you later because they're not. You know,
Right.
their answer is they're not going to buy. Their answer is they're going to choose somebody else when you
Mhm.
are the one that's supposed to be chosen, right?
Can
So,
you
so
can you give us
that's
an example of someone that has been successful in the accelerator program of what they have come to you with and how you've worked with them?
yeah. In our first accelerator, Sybil, back in 2017, there was a young lady who came from the pitch world because we have a lot of startups that have done pitches before and they've participated in other accelerators.
Sure.
And very left brain, data driven individual, which is fine. You have to be
Mhm.
comfortable with numbers and with data. What was really interesting about working with her is she didn't understand and really buy into the fact that you have to connect with your customers in a different, deeper way.
Mhm.
And we went back and forth. It was worldwide WWE, over Zoom for 6 weeks, and it was really difficult for her to connect why she was specifically and uniquely positioned to lead. And she shared with in front of the entire AHA community in DC at the finale night her story, her personal story, which was she herself had a debilitating heart disease that almost
Mm.
killed her, right? Her passion and her authenticity tied to her business model was so powerful that it's like she took the oxygen out of the room in a good way.
Mhm.
And she owned that room. And later on, she went on to be one of the top 10 honorees for CNN's Heroes. So,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, and this is again, the transformation was hearing the pitch, and if
Mhm.
you've ever been pitched to, it really is. It feels like, oh, someone's trying to sell me something,
Mhm.
right? Versus, I have 30 seconds to win your heart,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what we were able to accomplish with her, and it happens. We're over 100 entrepreneurs, including working with students from HBCUs across up and down the East Coast. So we're opening the door again to invite more innovators to apply. and
So
let's get going.
tell me this, Krista. This is
Mhm.
something that is affiliated with the American Heart Association and their effort to expose people to heart disease, or to look for a component that helps people in their fight against heart disease or something heart related.
Well, it's beyond that. So
Great.
what everyone is exposed to is a term called the SDOH. Here's an acronym. I'll throw at y'all, called the Social Determinants of Health.
Mm-hmm.
And really what's the focus is that understanding, okay, what leads to heart disease?
Mm-hmm.
What leads to the stress that triggers a stroke? Oh, food insecurity, housing insecurity, lack of employment. All of that plays into, you can't just say, oh, go, why don't you just go lose weight? Well, how about I can't walk outside because it's not
Right.
safe? Or I just don't have the money. I don't have the food. Blah, blah, blah. So if you're in the community and you know how to solve that problem, which leads to the larger solution, which is the bigger solution rather, which is we're going to cure heart disease, because in that chain exists multiple reasons why that heart disease exists, right? So we're going to help
Mm-hmm.
someone focus and expand and improve that, so that they are part of the answer that is going to help solve the bigger problem at the end of the day. So yeah,
I
it
don't
is
want to
heart
hog the
disease and it's stroke, but it is education, it is mental health, it is transportation, housing, food. All of them are connected. Nothing exists on its own. So
I don't want to hog the conversation, gentlemen. If you have any questions, jump in, please. And while you're thinking about that, Crystal, we did a show on Black maternal health recently. There was a young woman
mhm.
who was an accelerator program, and she has a doula program. Those are the women
Yeah,
or men who are working to help women, and this was Black maternal health, and so working with women as they're going through the stages of their pregnancy. And
mhm.
just a wonderful idea that you just don't think about. And so people are thinking outside of the box in a lot of these respects, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll come in with, here's one angle, right? Here's how we can approach the problem, solving the problem. Our job is to help them think about scale and
Mm-hmm.
traction, right? And if
Right.
it's sustainable. And through that particular example, it was one idea that was connected to a digital solution, so that she can scale that, because she came in with a great idea, but it has a national um, consequence, or potentially
Right.
national consequence that will change. That will be a game changer in the midwife and the doula industry. So
Yeah.
it's really exciting what she's doing.
And can we talk money? Can we talk about the grants
Yes,
and the
we can.
funding?
Uh-huh.
What are we
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so this year we have, I just got the numbers, y'all. So I'm reading, okay? So we have, first place will receive $50,000, second place $20,000, third place and fan favorite will receive $5,000. Okay, now if any of you are entrepreneurs, and anyone that's listening, know that 50,000, 25 can be like water in the entrepreneur's world. So this is where I want to also emphasize the tangible value of the grants, which I just shared with you, but the intangible value of being a part of the American Heart Association family
Mhm.
long after the accelerators are over. So what we found is, like, there is an opportunity to put us on stage, to put us out front, to connect us to communities and networks that we wouldn't have otherwise had access to. The American Heart Association is going to do that, and they're going to continue that commitment no matter how long. Look, as long as their lights are on, you coming in the room too, and that's
Right.
that's a wonderful thing. That is truly valuable. Yeah.
Damon, I see you
Yeah,
nodding your head with that.
yeah, because to get these messages out, you want to do it in an untraditional setting. So I think I will reach out to you and try to get some comedy for your heart situation going. Laughter heals the heart, something around that,
Uh-huh.
so we can get the message out and still have it in a place where it's fun and you can have on-premise handouts and connections to people, not just entrepreneurs, but the general public at large. So yes, my light bulb just went on, Sybil, when I saw you see it.
Yes, I saw it too, Damon. Yeah.
Krista, how can people apply? Where do we go?
Okay. I'm going to drop the links. There's two links I'm going to drop in here for you guys. I got two presents for you. One is for the actual accelerator, right? And if you want me to, there's two there if you guys can see it.
Okay.
But the second one is for another initiative that coincides with the accelerator, which is the Innovation Academy. And this is a self-paced micro-learning experience for those individuals who are considering the accelerator but don't know if they're quite ready, or if there's an area that they need a little bit brush up on in terms of their understanding around business models and understanding around what customers want and demographics and psychographics. There are small modules, and it's free, y'all. It doesn't cost anything, but you can jump in there and take these little courses, and it kind of helps boost up your application when they're reviewing them for the National Accelerator, because it shows that you're willing to do the work, and but it also lets you just kind of work on those areas that may feel a little vulnerable before you apply.
Awesome. Krista, you are a delight and quite a font of information. So we appreciate you coming on. I hope that you will join us again. I appreciate it. And for folks who want more information, we have the links there for you. And as well, what a great partner American Heart is with us. So whatever we can do to get the word out, we will certainly do it.
Yes. And one last thing, the applications are open until June 26th.
Okay. All right, cool.
So they're open now until June 26th. And then the actual accelerator starts in July and goes until
So we're
September.
looking at about 6 to 7 weeks that people have an opportunity to get involved here. Thank you so much, Absolutely. Krista. Please join us again, Krista Chambers Price. I appreciate you joining us today. And I've seen some of these great accelerators and the people that have benefited from the program. And if you got an idea, Krista's the girl. She's the woman to go to for to deflate your idea or to help you craft it in a way.
I knew that didn't come out right. As soon as I said it, I'm like, oh no.
No, you are the woman to help folks get on the right road to helping others.
Yeah,
so thank you so
to
much.
Reinflate the idea. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy the rest of the night.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
Appreciate you. All right, guys, let's talk about trending news. First of all, Damon, where are you going? What you doing? You got this weekend. You got Mother's Day weekend in the ATL, right?
Yes, the Uptown Comedy Corner. I'll be there. I have Teddy Carpenter coming here to Riddles. And I'm coming to Dallas Memorial Weekend, Arlington Improv. Okay. Yeah, so I'll look for you all out there. You might pop up on me again, Sil.
for sure.
I promise to do the smoking.
The gasm dance.
Yeah, you gotta see it to understand it. So that's the main two things. And then of course I'm still working on City Winery in Chicago, and that's in June.
Awesome. I talked to Tom the other day. He was really sad that he missed Sherry at the at Riddles, but he promises to catch up with all of us in just a matter of days.
I'm talking to Kim, so she'll probably be there this summer, so we can all get together for Kim Whitley.
Awesome. Yeah. Absolutely awesome. Cameron, what do you have going on?
Let's see. I'm going to be doing some shooting this summer for the documentary. Going to be just interviewing some folks, trying to get their red line stories, see what their experiences are on the Chicago South and northbound red line trains. Finishing up a new play and looking forward to hearing back from a couple fellowships in about a month or so. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, well, good luck to you. Got a lot happening. And Med, how's the soccer dad life going?
Soccer is over. The season is over, so we're done with that. We're in swimming right now. We're doing that wonderful thing. Of course, karate. He's very busy in that. So we try to keep him busy. We got some summer camps coming up very soon. So we're excited about that as well. Things just to, keep him out of my hair.
Looks like he's been
very,
busy.
yeah, very, 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 very busy. And also, I'm planning on being to see Damon this weekend while he's down here in Atlanta. I got a couple friends that want to go and laugh along with us, and also Blake's birthday party is this weekend as well. He's turning 8 next Monday, but we're celebrating on Saturday, so we have the 8th birthday and then Mother's Day, and I'm
Ooh,
broke.
that's a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm just broke right now.
Just broke. I hear you. I hear you. Damon, we wanted you to have an opportunity to kind of wrap up our conversation that we're talking about teachers and things like that. Or not, I'm sorry, about the Republicans and
Yeah.
politics.
Like Ahmed was saying, that we have to be more aware, but they're tricky because it'll be a sub division of the bill. And like for instance, in media, when they allowed newspapers and conglomerates to combine for media from that standpoint, we didn't know that radio stations would be included with that. And then they formed these two massive companies, and it changed the face of radio because we didn't know they were doing that in a sub clause of the bill. So you got to really be diligent if you really want to be helpful and involved with that. So you got to read, you got to do your research.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Well, somebody who didn't do his research may be the attorney for Donald Trump and didn't know how this case was going to turn out. But this was big news today. And I was telling people in the text, in our programming text, that I was juggling 3 stories today. And I was trying to do it based upon how I thought they were all going to fall out. One was the president's meeting at the White House with the members of Congress about the debt ceiling crisis. The second was another crisis. It was the border crisis. And the third was Donald Trump's trial. He was on trial in which a woman had accused him of rape and defamation of character. Well, the jury just got the case today. 3 hours, and they were back with the verdict. It was like, slam dunk for them. Not so much for Joe Picatino, Trapatino, Joe, Joe, who looks like he may have been Uncle Vinny's lawyer. But
Right.
he came out and was talking after the trial was over. But they found the former president of the United States not guilty of rape, but they did find him guilty of sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll, a writer in New York City. It was a jury of 6 men and 3 women. And they said, okay, it may not have been rape. You didn't have everything that we could hang on him as a rape charge. But we do see that there was some sexual abuse here. And E. Jean Carroll, she's now a 79-year-old white woman, a writer in New York, talked about the fact that she and alleges that she was raped in 1996 by Donald Trump in a dressing room in the lingerie department at Bergdorf Goodman's, a fancy schmancy department store in New York. So she could not charge him criminally. She could not file charges criminally because the time had elapsed, but she could bring charges against him in civil court. And as she made these charges, he also, she claimed, defamed her. And so, talking about her looks, she's not his type, and all of this other stuff. And she said, well, you're not going to, and then she was looking for a payday. You're not going to defame me, so I'm going to put that in the charges as well. And her attorneys proved it. Donald Trump did not show up at all in person, not testify, and the judge tried to give him as much leeway as he possibly could when they were wrapping the trial down. They said, the judge said, okay, you may not want to come, but I'm going to give you till Sunday to decide if you should change your mind. And they did not. And so they wrapped everything up, the closing arguments yesterday. And today they gave it to the jury. And as I said, 3 hours later, they came up with, the verdicts. So it was not rape, but it was sexual abuse. And there are 2 other women who also testified that Donald Trump had done the same thing to them. And in the deposition, which he gave for this trial, for this case, That was the damning evidence, not in
Yep.
addition to the women, that he, talked about how as a celebrity he thought that he could do these things to women, as he said in the Access Hollywood videotape that came out before the 2016 election, that he could grab women by their private parts and nobody's going to say anything because he's a celebrity, he's a star.
That was technically his admission of guilt.
Yep,
because he
that
didn't
was
come
it.
back. Because he didn't come back and stand before the jury.
Yeah, he could have. You mad if he had come in and he had said that was then, this is now. I don't believe that now. But he chose
then
not to.
Was 96.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even in the deposition, he
or
said,
even 2016.
in
what
the
he said.
deposition, he said it's been like that for a million years. Celebrities could do that, fortunately or unfortunately. No,
Yep.
he said unfortunately or
fortunately. Yep.
Yeah, like, it was cool. You could go around, grab stuff. So he's a crackpot. I mean, they showed him a photo and he couldn't even pick the lady out. He thought she was his wife after saying that she's not his type.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he obviously has a type.
He does.
He identified E. Jean Carroll as Marla Maples,
his
the
former
second
wife,
Mrs. Donald Trump.
Yep.
This is the same guy who claimed he was aced the cognitive test.
Right. Yeah.
You can't even pick out your ex-wife on a photo.
It was a comedy of errors during this trial for Tacopino, but not so much for E. Jean Carroll's side. And they got $5 million in punitive damages, civil and punitive damages. And so it'll be interesting to see. First of all, they're going to appeal. And secondly, Tacopino closed out by saying, "Phew, thank God, we avoided the rape charge." It's like,
and now we can prove that he is not a rapist.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's how they do it. Yep.
Exactly.
He's not a rapist.
He's not a rapist.
And the GOP will be covering that $5 million for him.
Right. If they have to. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they covered the legal for this particular case too, Cameron, right? But
GOP stands for grabbing on. Anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Private parts. Yes. So that was the big news that came out, and that was relatively late in the afternoon. With that, and I thought I had a day to work on that story some more, but it came out, and so here we are. The Justice Department also has announced that prosecutors have charged New York Congressman George Santos with federal offenses. George Santos, who never met a lie that he didn't like and want to tell people about himself. The most significant escalation and a growing pile of investigations that have plagued the first-term lawmaker since he even took office. He faces legal and political pressure to resign from Congress after he admitted to lying about parts of his background. It's the subject of multiple investigations into his finances and other issues, and that seems to be what they're looking into: his finances, how he got this money, and not so much that he really wasn't a volleyball player and that his mother died in 9/11. They don't care about that stuff. It's follow the money and how you got it, your associations with people and how they got you here. But this has been going on since before he got to Congress, talking about all the lies and things that and the illegalities. But he has already announced that he's running again.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
We need him. I love George Santos. George Santos, him just doing him is allowing us to see the ridiculousness of politics. That the fact that this man who's lied, done illegal stuff, and they're just asking him, please resign, and he's saying, no, I'm not, is the absolute pinnacle of ridiculousness. And we've already dealt with Trump. At least Trump, lied and said, no. Santos was saying, yeah, I did it. I lied.
And I'm a pretty good drag queen too, by the way. So, a lot of this stuff has come out regarding his past, and so what they are looking into, whether he engaged in unlawful activity while campaigning, or if he failed to properly disclose the required information on statements filed with the House. Two federal law enforcement confirmed that federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York opened the investigation and were examining his finances, especially the potential irregularities involving financial disclosures and loans he made or he made to himself because he's that rich. He's very, very rich, or that he got from people through business dealing. So
all that illegal. All of that illegal. All of that illegal. Yes, George.
It just boggles the mind. It boggles the mind. But,
Yes.
but what I think is going to be interesting, you guys, Cameron, as a political contributor, is the people who are going to be running in this contest as well. There is a Black man who is running for the Republican nomination in that district, as well as the Democrat who had that district and wants his job back. That is going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. So keep your eyes glued on Santos, which he really wants you to do. He obviously is seeking a lot of attention. And speaking of seeking attention, Tucker Carlson has announced today that he'll launch a new show on Twitter TV.
Yep.
Genius.
Yeah.
Yep.
The former Fox News host, launching the new show, and he said that they agreed to part ways, he and Fox, and the news came after the network announced that it had agreed to pay the $800 million to Dominion because they really didn't want all those texts and things to come out, which is really funny that it's going to be on Twitter with his friend Elon Musk.
I bet Musk called him like that. I bet Musk called him that same day.
And all the money that he has saved after firing all those people on Twitter is probably going into Tucker's pocket.
Yep.
Absolutely. Tucker's going to make money hand over fist doing this. This is the easiest move that you could have possibly made if you were Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. We're just waiting for you to offer that same show to Don Lemon. So let's see what's happening there. Come on.
Get it done.
Come on now. Don deserves it. Let's move to entertainment. I found this very interesting when I woke up hearing this story this morning. Actor Robert De Niro recently announced he's a dad for the 7th time at the age of 79.
Selfish. It's such a selfish move. He's not going to be at graduation.
No.
I mean, you don't even want your 79-year-old dad showing up at the school because by the time the kid's in school, he's 85. Like, whose daddy is that?
Right. And the kid will be out of Pampers before De Niro.
Yeah, they'll be sharing them.
Yeah. So the mom will be going to get paying double the amount for baby and adult diapers. He's been linked with a woman by the name of Tiffany Chen following his divorce from Grace Hightower in 2018. The pair met years prior while filming a movie together. She's a martial arts instructor, so I know he's not going to do anything to tick her off. She had a role in the movie The Intern, which starred De Niro. I don't remember martial arts being involved in The Intern. That was when he was the old guy coming back to work at Google, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yes, that's the movie.
I don't remember, but anyway. So they asked him.
To his defense, then she probably made him get her pregnant,
and didn't even know it.
Right.
So the movie that he's making, or that is coming out soon, is called About My Father. And during the sit down with E.T. of Canada, he discussed parenting. And in the movie, he is the parent of a comedian, Sebastian. I can't remember Sebastian's last name, but anyway, he plays his father. It's based on a real life story. And they asked him, how about your fatherhood skills and conversation about your 6 kids? And he said, well, actually, I'm a father to 7 now. And he didn't specify with whom, but the speculation is that this woman, Miss Chen, Tiffany Chen, is the mother. And another interesting fact, while Mr. De Niro is 79, the baby is probably months old, and his oldest child is 51.
He's making his own great grandkids.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Guy really does his
That's
Pilates,
wild, man. That's wild. Robert, snip.
It gives us hope,
Yeah.
Well, if you can, ask Nick if you can afford it, Med. Okay, more power to you. But he's doing it on the quiet side. Some people are advertising it to the extreme. But I
mean, you have like Nick Cannon, who has like a dozen kids, and he looks kind of like ill. Like it's really been taking it out of him. Robert De Niro's at 79 and still kicking. He's got the old ticker just a thumping, and he's putting it down in the bedroom. Go for it.
And the
man.
baby mama is kicking too. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls into
How old
place.
is Miss
But,
Jen?
how old is she?
Yeah, how old is Miss Jen? Do we know?
She looks like she's probably 30ish, in her 30s.
Oh, hey, Robert.
Right.
She could be
Hey,
younger.
Robert.
It's just, dealing with 79-year-old man can age you. So she could be younger. But she's
Hey, Robert.
and she looks like she is, because he likes the sisters, and just from the
Yeah.
picture, it looks like she's a mix.
I
Okay.
was about to say,
Yeah.
he's
When I heard the last
flavor.
name, I'm like, usually he likes black women, but okay.
Yeah. It
All
looks
right.
like he stuck to the sisters, but brought in a little bit of fresh blood too.
All right.
Yeah. 79. All right, Papa.
Yeah.
Not go ahead, do
Take it
your
on the
thing.
chin, lady. Take it on the chin.
Let's close out with our jewel, our daily inspiration. A healthy mental state requires desire and intention. That goes out to you, Mr. De Niro, as well. A healthy mental state requires desire and intention. And Damon, that just brings to mind one of my favorite songs that you like to bring to us every once in a while.
Where do you want me to put it? Miss Tia.
Miss Cheetah. You guys, you know that HBCU classic football season is upon us. Take a look at this. Let's get started.
Get ready for an epic showdown on September 16th as Morehouse and Albany State take the field for the Toyota HBCU NY Classic at MetLife Stadium.
Football season is back, and this is the game you can't miss.
Join us for the world's largest HBCU homecoming to experience the thrill of HBCU culture like never before.
Enjoy the ultimate celebration with a pregame tailgate, battle of the bands, and an iconic halftime show.
Don't wait. Get your tickets now at hbcunyclassic.com.
Your tickets now. You heard the man and you saw the women. So get there if you can. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Another great session, talking ideas and having some fun. And we will see you all again soon. Take care, everyone. Aloha.